Welcome to the Supplement Engineer Podcast. My name is Robert Chinetsky. Today we are joined by the founder and owner of InnovaPharm and Precision Research, Mr. Christopher Yandoli. Thanks for being here, Chris.
Thanks for having me. Finally, man. This is supposed to happen when? December?
I know, yeah. This has been a long time in the making. We've known each other for several years now, and we finally got you on the podcast. So this is quite an honor. So thanks for joining us.
Yeah, you scheduled me, I think, mid or late December, and I had gotten tied up with a bunch of shit, and we're trying ever since then. So finally, glad I'm here.
Excellent. Well, let's start back at your roots. How did you first get into the supplement industry, and what were some of your first experiences with dietary supplements in general?
Always been a consumer of dietary supplements since since I was a kid. Not a kid, but I remember my first product I ever purchased. I was in high school. I was about 14 years old. Designer whey protein, 1 pound little container in a tin container, not even in a tub. But always an athlete. Grew up playing, sports, baseball in high school. Went to a D1 school, played baseball there. We converted to D2 later on, but played baseball in college. So always an athlete, always into working out. Never competed, never really that much into bodybuilding, but just love staying in shape, health, etc. And supplements, I was always into them. I was always amazed at how certain ingredients, whether it's an herb, amino acid, anything, can really produce a result, and and also be an alternative to a drug in terms of enhancing health. So yeah, always a consumer. In about 2012, I worked for a small company. I was with them for a few years, learned a lot about this industry. I was always into sales. Since I was 10 years old, I was selling yo-yos out of my backyard. I was selling baseball cards, stuff like that. Middle school, I was selling stuff. So always into sales. But the one thing is, anyone can sell anything. But what I did learn over the years is if you're going to be a successful salesperson or have a successful business, you can't sell shit. You got to sell products that people want, products that your retailers want to sell to their customers, building a trust with your retailers, with your accounts. And I've learned that over the years, and I've learned that especially in this industry. I come from kind of this, there's two different parts of this industry that I've noticed. There is the direct-to-consumer. There's the direct-to-consumer brands where they look at trying to they spend as much money as possible. Not as much money as possible, but they try and get that internet consumer, social media. But then there's also another side of this industry, these brick and mortar retailers that need brands that support them, that don't go direct to consumer. And I learned now, especially when you have Amazon, when you have eBay, when you have all these direct to consumer brands, they need as much support as possible, these brick and mortars. So that's where InnovaPharm kind of came about. Small business, it's in my blood. I grew up in a small business, my family's small business. I still own numerous other small businesses outside of the supplement industry. It's in my blood. I love it. And now more than ever, small businesses, especially brick and mortar retail, need as much support as they can get. So with InnovaPharm from the very beginning, my goal was to support my brick and mortar retailers. I had developed numerous relationships with these guys. So I wanted InnovaPharm to be the brand that was not going to hoard itself out on Amazon, was not going to hoard itself out to a big distributor for a massive PO. I always said I'd rather grow, slowly, grassroots, word of mouth, because 9 out of 10 times you get, these brick and mortar stores, they know this. 9 out of 10 customers that come in their store, they're asking, what product do I take? What do I take to burn fat? What do I take to put on muscle? They're going to direct that consumer to a product that is going to help them achieve their goal, but at the same time is going to keep their business. They're not going to sell that consumer a product that they're going to be able to go home, Google, Amazon, and see it $10 cheaper somewhere else. So a lot of our products you're going to see on our website more at a higher price than you will if you go into Bob's health food store or Jim's sports supplement shop. you'll find better pricing there than you will on our website or on Amazon, something like that, because we do focus on those brick and mortar mom and pop type stores, and it's worked for us. It's helped us grow. It's helped slowly snowball the InnovaPharm brand,
Hmm.
and that's the route we're still taking.
Fantastic. Now, we've heard a lot of talk recently, it's probably within the last year and a half, since Amazon's really gotten strong as far as selling a lot of supplements, and they've even launched their own supplement line, that the mom and pop shops, the brick and mortars, are going the way of the dinosaurs. They'll be extinct soon. Speaking from somebody that has the back of the small guys in the industry, can you comment on the health of the brick and mortar segment of the market, and how do you actually see it from the brand side? Is it strong? Is it weak? Is it in decline? What is it actually?
It sounds crazy because we talk about Amazon and we talk about the depth of retail, but in this industry, and there's so many variables, and it depends on the owner, it depends on the people they work for, et cetera. But in this industry, it's growing. Brick and mortar retail is growing.
Mm-hmm.
The industry has grown massively. I mean, in the past 15 years, I think it went from 4 billion to 40 billion.
Yeah.
Overall. So it's growing rapidly, this industry, and with that, there is so much competition. There are so many retail outlets, whether it be Amazon, whether it be bodybuilding.com, Vitamin Shop, GNC,
Mm-hmm.
or even Vitamin Shop or GNC's websites. There's so many options, it seems kind of crazy that why would anyone go to a brick and mortar local store that's not a big chain, that's not owned by a publicly traded company or not bodybuilding.com.
Mm-hmm.
So it sounds kind of crazy, but these the average customer, if they're either going to go online and read about the breakdown of these products, how they're going to help them, et cetera. Some people don't have the time for that. Some people don't have the time to research citrulline malate, what it does, beta alanine, what it does, et cetera. Right. They want to go somewhere and they want to ask questions and they want to be guided in a certain direction. GNC especially has lost that touch. Mm-hmm. They've become, over the past, I'd say 7-8 years, they've become the place to go and get ripped off, or to go and get upsold on shit you don't need because they need to hit their commission or whatever the hell it is. So these stores, these brick and mortar stores, whether the owner is working behind the counter or they have a manager there or a couple employees, mm-hmm. they have brought back that personal touch that's been lost. Mm-hmm. They are there because they have a passion for this industry. They have a passion for health, bodybuilding, fitness, wellness, whatever it is, and they want to help people. They want to help people achieve their goals. They're there to make money. They're there to survive. They're there to put food on the table for their family. Mm-hmm. It's a business. It's got to make money, but these guys have the passion. And customers that shop at these stores, they know that. And there's this very strong loyalty for the most part between these customers and these stores. In fact, I was at this past Saturday, there was a big event for one of my bigger retailers, one of our bigger customers. They just opened their 6th store in New Jersey. 6th store in 6 years. Unbelievable. The operation these guys run is unbelievable. They got great guys working there, great owner, and they do it right. Mm-hmm. And they've got a massive following. And it's almost like people hear that. People who usually shop bodybuilding.com or Amazon, they hear something like that. They say, no way. I can't believe it. Where are all these places? Yeah. Even though they existed anymore. But back to your point, is it a dinosaur? Is it like, are these stores dinosaurs? They're going to be extinct soon? Some will be, some have been. But if you're on the up and up and you know the industry, if you know the business model, mm-hmm. you can do it. You can be very successful. And we thrive off those guys. That's our bread and butter. Like I said, you support these guys and they're going to support you back. So that's how we've grown over the past 4 years, and that's how we're going to continue to do it.
Excellent. Now, the formulas, your approach to formulation, because I'm going to build off of this. I want to touch on your philosophy when you go into formulating a product, and then I want to expound on that a little bit. So anybody that's looked at your formulas knows that there's a lot of synergism in between the ingredients, and there's some complexity, and there's multiple layers that they work together with. What is your design philosophy when you're putting together a new product?
Okay, design philosophy. It's got to be better than the competition, or at least the majority of the competition. Mm-hmm. People see through bullshit. And that's why these, I don't know, I'm not going to say, but people do see through bullshit. I see through bullshit. So the last thing I want is for someone that buys my product or a customer of mine to think my company is full of shit.
Mm-hmm.
So it's got to be good. It's got to be a good product. The ingredients have to be dosed correctly, obviously, but at the same time, to make it one step ahead of the competition, you got to have something extra.
Mm-hmm.
And in that, you got to listen. You got to listen to what your customers are saying. You got to listen to what your retailers are saying. You got to listen, see what's going on the internet. I really like to read comments,
Mm-hmm.
people's blogs, people's YouTube videos, etc. I like to read the comments more than I do actually watch the videos or read the blogs, because that gives you a real deal sense of what people think.
Mm-hmm.
So, I see a lot of brands or bodybuilders who come out with a brand, or a fitness guy comes out with a brand, and they say, I made this product because this is what I like. Or this, half my products, I can't even take them, whether it's because of stimulants or something like that. But I keep an ear to the street, and I know what people want. So if it's going to work for the masses, it's going to sell.
Mm-hmm.
So that's number one. Make it a product, obviously, that people want, not necessarily what you want. Regarding our formulas, every one of our formulas, for the most part, is slightly unique. If we can't make it unique, we overdose it or give the customer more
Mm-hmm.
for a lower price. For example, our superior cissus. That's a great raw material. That raw material, as most of you guys know, has been around for a long time. It's a proven success. We were able to obtain the same raw material that was used by that previous company that had the other cissus and other cissus products as well. I said, what can I do with this? I can have an extract made and make it a higher dose of natural ketosterones, but then you also, at the same time, you lose the other constituents in the whole herb, so that's not necessarily always a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
So what we did was we kept it simple, and we gave everybody a 180 cap version. I knew that although it was the original product was from the other brand was recommended at 4 caps per day. From being in the industry, I knew everyone used 6.
Mm-hmm.
So if we just said, let's use the same raw material, same cap size, 6 caps a day, 180 count, 30 day cycle, not cycle, 30 days worth of dosing for the same price. Simple as that. So people like it. It works. On the other hand, something like our InnovaPharm, highly dosed, good ingredients,
Mm-hmm.
also some complex newer ingredients.
Yes.
We put the 8 grams of citrulline malate, 4 grams of glycopump, which alone will give a sick pump.
Mm-hmm.
Those 2 ingredients and those 2 doses alone give a great pump. Gram of agmatine sulfate. This is, I can go off on a tangent about this too. I mean, agmatine has been used for years. People love agmatine. They've done well with it. And then, recently, you see people, you go on the forums and stuff. You go on the YouTube videos, you see people shitting on agmatine because it may compete with citrulline. It may prevent the absorption of citrulline, et cetera. I get it. But at the same time, not everything on paper converts to, real world results. And if people have been using agmatine for this long and it's been working for them, either one, it hasn't, and it's been a placebo effect for all of these people for all this time. And are we all going to say that that's the case? I don't know. But 2, I don't know. It seems like a good ingredient, but that's a whole nother topic. But back to the formula: 8 grams citrulline, 4 grams glycopump, 1 gram agmatine. Great product alone, right there. Same time, anyone can do that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be the same as anyone else. I don't want to be copied in 3 months with the exact same formula, or someone puts in 9 grams of citrulline and we've got 8. So I said, let's find a couple other ingredients that will work and add to this already solid trifecta.
Mm-hmm.
So the super spinach, number 1, that red spinach extract, it's been around for a bit. We were able to obtain a little bit more of a potent extract. Works very well, increases nitric oxide. There's actually a study that was just complete with a university study here on Long Island, Hofstra University. It's going to be published actually within the next couple months. It showed that 1 gram of the super spinach raw material increased, this is done in human cyclists, increased power output and endurance, and also lowered diastolic blood pressure post-exercise.
Mm-hmm. Phenomenal
stuff. So another ingredient that's fairly new, not used widely across the industry, if at all. We like the ingredient, and it works very well.
Mm-hmm.
The Pega pump, that's another ingredient, very small dose. We were able to obtain this took a while too, because I knew the Peganum harmala plant herb has been used for centuries, supposedly in the Middle East for vascular relaxation,
Hmm.
blood pressure issues. We were able to. This stuff tastes nasty as it is, so we were able to get a potent extract, so, standardized for um, harming, and those
Hmm.
that constituent primarily helps with vascular relaxation, helps with the expansion of blood vessels, etc. So micro dose, but it was all we needed. We tested it on our beta testers by itself, and
Hmm.
then combined with the rest of the NovaPump, and it was by itself it was great.
Yeah.
It also has PDE5 inhibiting properties, so that's a similar pathway to Viagra and a lot of
Cialis
these
and the
central.
Viagra, right?
Yep. So yeah, so that made NovaPump, and that's right now. That's actually our number one selling product right now. It's out of control. You leave the gym looking like a different person when you take that stuff. So that formula took a little bit of time, basically. So we did high doses of the three basic ingredients that we see in other products, and we took two other ingredients that we were able to source, and it took us some time to do the research. We put it together, and it worked. And then you got Recover EAA.
Hmm.
You guys did a great review, you and your wife.
That is one of
Uh,
the hands down best tasting amino products I have ever best tasting supplements. Period. I won't even qualify it as an amino. Just best tasting supplements I have ever tried. And I'm sad it's gone.
I'll get you another tub. But yeah, it's look, we saw over the past couple of years the industry shift from what BCAAs to EAAs.
Hmm. Yep.
Very interesting. So, and that goes back to the agmatine point I was making before. Are BCAAs no longer, are they obsolete? Are they no longer wanted? I mean, they worked. Everyone was all about BCAAs for the past 15 years,
Right.
and now, BCAAs are just, they're not going to do much. Bullshit. BCAAs are still great, but EAAs may be better. So people moving toward the EAA, which is good. But our Recovery EAA formula, back to the formulation, what could you do with it with an EAA or an amino product?
Hmm.
There's a few things you could do. You could do a small dose of EAAs or a decent dose of EAAs, and then start adding taurine. You could add glycine. You could add glutamine. You could add some cheap filler, in my opinion, amino acids, which don't really do much if you're looking for recovery.
Right.
And look, not shitting on products that have that, but we want to go a different route. We said, look, if this is going to be an EAA product, let's make an EAA product.
Hmm.
Let's give our customers 10 full grams of BCAAs. Let's up the EAAs, the specific essential amino acids that are beneficial for recovery.
Hmm.
Lysine, threonine. We gave 2 grams of each, which is a phenomenal dose. Lysine itself, I mean, I always feel like it's been so overlooked in this industry because of for immune function.
Correct.
We're beating ourselves up in the gym, and it does take a toll on our immune system. So something like lysine, I think, is vital, especially at a dose like that. So we bumped those doses up in the lysine and threonine, and then we gave 100 mg each of the other, histidine, I'm sorry,
Phenylalanine, threonine.
phenylalanine, methionine,
Yep.
and the tryptophan.
Yeah.
So it's right now, from what I've seen, it's the highest dose EAA product, the actual EAAs. Now, a lot of products will say we got 20 grams of aminos. Okay, 10 grams of EAAs and 10 grams of taurine, glutamine, glycine. Okay,
Yep.
well, this is an EAA product, straight EAAs. Now, the problem was it took 6 months after we had this formula flavoring this motherfucker.
Yeah.
This thing was tough to flavor. As you know, methionine, phenylalanine, BCAAs alone taste like shit. So it took longer to come up with to flavor this correctly than it actually did put the formula together. So something like this is nothing. There's nothing crazy to do with EAAs. I mean, put it, like I said, added some other shit, estrogen, something like that. Okay, but we just want to do straight EAAs at a massive dose
Hmm.
and make it taste freaking awesome. That's what we did. This has more essential amino acids per scoop than whey protein. So
Huh.
it's a solid product.
Fascinating.
So
What
yeah,
was the because I've had a couple of comments and when Santa and I were doing the review on it, one of the ingredients in Recovery A, and I'm sure this was part of the thing that helped make it taste so good, was the bitterness blocker in there.
yes.
What is the actual bitterness blocker? Is it a compound? I mean, obviously it blocks the bitterness, but what can you explain a little bit more for the listeners that may not be familiar with it, what that is actually?
Yeah, so bitterness blocker, there's natural bitterness blockers, and there's bitterness blockers. It's actually a combination of of other ingredients. This is, I guess, not a secret, but people don't really talk about this. Sometimes even a bitterness blocker will contain numerous ingredients that don't need to be listed specifically, including dextrose,
Okay.
which may not even be maybe under half of a gram, so it doesn't need to be listed.
Mm-hmm.
But dextrose, natural flavoring, and ethyl alcohol. I've seen ethyl alcohol in bitterness blockers, which is very strange. Yep. Yep.
Fascinating.
Yeah, it's something that I guess people don't want to talk about. And if you don't have to list something like that on the label, no one wants to see ethyl alcohol on a label.
Right.
Even if it's in a minuscule dose.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Now, since y'all work so closely hand in hand with the mom and pop brick and mortar retailers, and the products and the formulas for InnovaPharm are rather complex compared to some of the other bargain bin products you'll get out there. What steps do y'all take to make sure that the stores are educated and that they can actually explain the products thoroughly? Because you said the customers are going to the mom and pop shops because they get that one-on-one attention that they won't get with an internet retailer or a big box store like a GNC or a Vitamin Shop. So how do y'all go about educating the retail partners to make sure that they can explain the products as thoroughly as possible?
One-on-one, give them your time. It's really what it comes down to. Store visits, calls, texts. I mean, the other day I'm looking at my phone. I had 87 missed text messages. No joke. I don't have friends anymore. They don't even bother texting me anymore because I never get back to them. I tell them, I said, listen, I got more important people to get back to. So sometimes I'll took a screenshot of my homepage, homepage on my phone the other day to show the 87 text messages I circled and sent to a buddy of mine because he was getting pissed off at me. But to your point, it's really that one-on-one relationship and letting these customers know they have access to you or your sales reps or your team if they have questions regarding products or their orders, whatever it is. But you got to explain the product to them. Products that are, as you said, products that are as complex as ours and a little different. These stores need the education. That way they can repeat it to the customer that comes in their store, and they can explain it to the customer. And by not doing that, not offering that to them, that would be a disservice to us, them, and the customer because everyone would be missing out. But whether it's visits, calls, I'm on the phone with my customers all day, text, etc. We should do a better job, and we just relaunched our website on more content. We have had shit content on our website for the past 4 years. The other day, we finally got rid of Wix. Wix is the build-it-yourself website builder, and that's what we've been using. And it's just, like I said, we grind. I grind. Like I said, I visit stores, do the demos, do the visits, do these events for the retailers, and talk to them. And we have a new product. It would be foolish of me not to spend my time explaining the benefits and the uniqueness of, a Pega Pump or a Super Spinach, etc.
You said you're somebody that pays attention. You'll give some credence to the actual video reviews of that, but you're also in the forums, in the comment section, looking at what people are saying. At the same time, I think the people that tend to comment on those videos tend to be the more informed ones that are championing, clinical dosing and or full disclosure labels and all of that. Do you find that still holds true with the average everyday consumer that's walking into the mom and pop shops? And the reason I'm asking that is because y'all have some products that are fully disclosed labels, y'all have some that are partially transparent, and then Enduraline is, I believe, fully transparent. I think you disclose the caffeine content, but everything else is blended together. So do you find that the casual consumer that's walking into the store is in demand of those things as some of the keyboard warriors are? And some of the more informed supplement users out there, the 5%ers?
It's just an interesting question. It's a really good question because, as you said, we have some of our products are all proprietary blend and some are full disclosure. Our Enduraline, up until InnovaPharm, that's been our number one selling product for the past 2 years.
Really?
Yeah, but it's crazy. It's crazy, and the people that take it, we very rarely hear any negative feedback on Enduralene,
Hmm.
all positive. And the people that take it, I mean, it works. And the formula, we were never trying to not trying to hide anything.
Hmm.
It's just a very complex formula. And when we formulated this, I formulated this in by the end of 2016. I spent a lot of time on this, and at that time, I mean, still to this day, there's a lot of copying, a lot of copycats, a lot of knockoff stuff, and that, in my opinion, is one of the few reasons proprietary blends should not be as shit on as they are. Um, but unfortunately, you do have a lot of brands that are trying to hide behind the proprietary blend.
Hmm.
But I think customers, even the average customer who isn't a keyboard warrior, all up on the clinical dosing, they're becoming more aware of these proprietary blends that are just garbage because they feel it.
Yeah.
They know the difference between, you could tell a good product between something that's just pixie dust with some stim in it at this point.
Yeah.
But to your point, what you were saying, um, we sell so much more Enduralene out of our brick and mortar locations
Hmm.
because they are less apt to say I only want a fully disclosed label based product.
Hmm.
And this may be because if a store owner is recommending to them, there's that trust there,
Right.
and that customer, after trying the Enduralene, if they purchase it the first time, for the most part likes it, and they're going to try it again, and they're going to continue to use it and switch up the flavors because it's a product that at the end of the day it does work, they do like it, etc.
Hmm.
But when they go into that store, they're listening to the guy behind the counter for the most part, and they trust his input, they trust his recommendation or her recommendation, and that's why we sell so much Enduralene. We don't sell a lot off of our website.
Hmm.
We sell more Nova Pump off our website, more Recover EAA, and maybe those are the keyboard warriors that are looking for those high dose, clinically dosed, full disclosure label based stuff.
Yeah. I've had this conversation recently with a few different people. And they're always wondering what my opinions are on prop blends. And I think in in and of themselves, I'm against them. But the thing that I tell them is that I have used and I still do use some products that contain partial prop blends or full prop blends because number one, I know the companies. I've established very good relationships with several of the companies that put these products out. I know
Right.
what the dosages of most of the ingredients are if I've been privy to those, none of which I would ever disclose because, obviously I'm not going to violate that trust that I've established with them.
Yeah.
And I respect the work that they put into developing the formulas. But I know it works. I personally enjoy the effects off of it, so I feel okay recommending it. I know the ingredients, and I can trust those companies that they're putting in there what they're telling me because I've used other products that have prop blends, and either they've made me feel absolutely miserable, or they're just pure garbage in terms of it's a 5 gram blend in creatine and beta alanine are the first two ingredients in there, and
Right.
it's nothing but a bunch of crack and stim after that. So it's in principle, I'm against it, but there are a few exceptions to the rule. And then so obviously things like Limitless, which I've been open about on reviews, I'll say yes, it's got a prop energy blend, but it's the damn near closest thing I've ever experienced to true tunnel vision outside of my very first experience on a DMAA in a pre-workout. So
Yeah, yeah. That's the thing. It depends, I guess, on the company. If you trust the company,
mm-hmm.
if you feel the product working. I mean, there's been so many times where I have, over the past couple of years, I've said to myself, you know what, I'm going to redo Enduralene
Mm-hmm.
because I guess, like I said, I listen. I'm listening to what people are saying, what they're looking for. Overseas,
Mm-hmm.
Europe, we have a very big distributor in Europe. We're growing like crazy in the UK, especially.
Mm-hmm.
They don't sell a lot of Enduralene. I keep telling them, this is a great freaking product.
Yeah.
They said, well, it's prop blend. This is with them talking. I feel uncomfortable getting behind it because it's a prop blend.
Okay.
Okay. At the end of the day, though, Enduralene does have 2 grams of active ingredient per scoop at 84 scoops. You get a lot of shit in there. So,
Yeah.
I mean, regardless of how you feel about a prop blend, you're getting a lot. There's a lot of value.
Mm-hmm.
And again, the feedback's great. But yeah, the U.S. now, I'm noticing, especially on the internet, you're seeing a lot of people going more towards that clinically, the full disclosure label. Limitless is part full disclosure, 4 grams of citrulline malate, 1 gram of agmatine, and then the cognitive blend and the stim.
Mm-hmm.
We can disclose that. We kept it proprietary. We came out with that formula 4 years ago, and we haven't changed it since.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy because it's so consistent. And it's consistent. If it sells and Duralene sells, like I said, I go back and forth in my mind. Should I make this fully disclose this label? And I just say, you know what? If it's selling and people like it, I'm going to leave it alone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, why mess with a good thing? You're exactly right.
But to your point though, new products that we're developing, I don't plan on coming out with any new products that are proprietary blend anytime soon.
Okay. The FDA has come out recently with a host of ingredients that it's kind of spotlighted. It may not have fully outright banned them yet, but I mean, we've seen this slowly snowballing over the year when it started with DMAA and the DHEAs that a few companies were putting out there. They started with the raids with that, and then they've come back and on they've gotten rid of things like phenibut's now on their target list. Hordenine is, hygenamine, DMHA, amcitrate's already been nixed for several years now. So, at any given time, y'all have experimented with some of these ingredients and then cycled them off. What is your take on them, and where do you see these ingredients as terms of liabilities and their accessibility for use going forward?
For us, are we plan on using any of those ingredients going forward?
Yeah.
I don't want to piss on the FDA's in their Cheerios. I don't want to piss them off at all.
Right.
You want to do things right, and then the question is, okay, just because the FDA says this is what you have to do, is that right? Or does the FDA have the right to come up with a link on their website that has a list of ingredients that they feel or say are unlawful ingredients, and consumers should be wary of these ingredients and products that contain them?
Yeah.
Is that right? Do they have the ability to just come up one day and say this ingredient's banned, you can't use this ingredient? And at the same time, none of these are controlled substances. None of these are scheduled drugs. So
correct.
I guess they're saying you cannot sell these as dietary ingredients, or these cannot be considered or sold as dietary supplements because they're not. But at the same time, you look at hygenamine. Mm-hmm. That's found in nature.
Yeah.
It's all the hygenamine in most of these products are synthetically produced. As that goes back to the DMAA case right now. Mm-hmm. DMAA is found in nature in minuscule amounts, but it's synthetically made. But it's caffeine anhydrous.
Yeah, and so are all the B vitamins, vitamin C, all the other vitamins that are in your multivitamin and minerals are probably as well.
Yeah, exactly. So where do where is that fine line, or it's just very strange. So I think hordenine was on that list as well.
Yeah.
And 1,4-dimethylamylamine is on that list, which is very interesting. That ingredient is also another nomenclature for it. I believe is 2-amino-5-methylhexane, mm-hmm. which is often confused with 2-amino-5-methylheptane.
Right, which is DMHA.
Yeah, which is DMHA. But 1,4-DMAA/2-amino-5-methylhexane is not DMHA. But you have a lot of brands right now, whether they know it or not, or it's maybe it's their manufacturers, but whatever. They're labeling some of their products as DMHA mm-hmm. or 2-amino-isoheptane, and they're putting 2-amino-5-methylhexane in there. That's 1,4-DMAA. It's completely different.
Right.
So maybe the FDA is catching on to that, and that's why they threw that on the list. I don't know. But end of the day, we want to do things by the book as we continue to grow. Mm-hmm. But it's how far does the FDA have the ability to reach, and what's next? If they can do this, mm-hmm. what can they do next?
Right.
I understand there's got to be pushback by them. This industry cannot be the wild, wild west. Mm-hmm. It just won't work. Someone's going to get hurt. Companies just trying to outdo each other with the amount of DMHA, or back in the day, how much DMAA per scoop. Eventually, someone's going to get fucking hurt. Mm-hmm. That's the problem, and that's what happens. And that ruins it for everybody else. And DMHA, I can't believe it took this long for them to say something about it. Yeah. This has been going on for 4 years. I think the first DMHA product was Patrick Arnold came out with the Clear Shot 2.0. He had DMHA in there before anybody else did. But about 4 years ago, it came back to the surface. And I just can't believe it took them that long to say something. I thought maybe at this point they felt it was fine. Yeah. That's the thing. In 4 years, if they haven't said a word, it must be fine. But the problem also is you got everyone online talking about it. All these YouTubers, everybody, bloggers, everyone's talking about DMHA. And when they say is DMHA the next DMAA in the headline, it's just a matter of time till the FDA says, you know what, it's over.
Yep.
Be discreet. Why couldn't you just be fucking discreet about it? Be discreet about it, and you know what? Maybe they'll leave it alone. But everyone's got to, put it on their product, DMHA infused, or this has DMHA. Well, you know what? Now it's over.
Yeah. Do you ever see I mean, I know there's a lot of infighting amongst the brands. I mean, it may not be outright, but I know, people are protective over their territory and their products. But do you ever see something like an Avengers scenario working out where all the brands kind of come together and just kind of push back against the FDA and say, piss off, we can regulate ourselves. You can't just go and arbitrarily ban these ingredients without just cause?
That's interesting. And I think I'm the only one in the country that hasn't seen the Avengers, or maybe the universe that hasn't seen the Avengers. So I don't know what you're referencing to. But I haven't seen that yet in this industry.
Mm-hmm.
I do know there are lobbying groups more in the natural market,
Mm-hmm.
the natural industry, natural products industry, that they do lobby Congress. I don't know if that's the case here, and I am certain that there are some sports supplement companies that do have the ear of the FDA. But at the same time, I think those brands want things like hygenamine gone, DMHA gone, because at the end of the day, it would help their business.
Right.
They'd sell more product if those ingredients were gone. These little brands that pop up that have 2-amino isoheptane or whatever the hell in there,
Mm-hmm.
those are off the shelf. That's more product for these guys to sell, and I get it. It's business.
Yeah. What is your daily supplement regimen like? As you mentioned that you may not be able to handle some of the stim loads that are in your products, but what does your daily supplement intake consist of?
Yeah, I hate stems, man. I'm over it. I'm
Yeah.
so over it. I think I killed my receptors. I hate DMHA. I hate the crash. If I take a pre-workout that has anything over 200 milligrams of caffeine and a little extra stim
Mm-hmm.
in the morning, and I train early. When I train early. I'll train, get in the gym at 6. My day is shot. I can't think straight, and I got to think clearly. I got to I want to be on my A game mentally,
Mm-hmm.
and I can't do that with a lot of stims. But my regular supplement routine is pretty basic. I don't train like I used to. I don't eat the 6 meals a day anymore. I don't stop and take whatever pills I got to take, my supplements I got to take.
Mm-hmm.
When I stopped all that, I started actually being successful. It's pretty crazy. There's only so much time in the day. If you're worried about the 6 meals and the 8 meals and every 2 hours,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know how people get work done.
Yeah.
Two a days at the gym. I mean, shit. Maybe one day if I retire early, I could go back to that. But the past few years, I haven't really been doing it. But I do a multivitamin. It's actually I've been taking Myovite from Myogenics for a while. It's a very good multivitamin.
Mm-hmm.
I do take NovaPump obviously before I work out. I don't take any of our stim-based products. I don't take our stim fat burners and Duralene. The only I will do a scoop of Duralene here and there. It's very low stim.
Mm-hmm.
That one scoop. And Duralene stim free. Our ZMX, honestly, I take every night. We've been out of ZMX for a while, and I didn't even have a personal stash for about 3 weeks. And we finally got it back, and I said, "Holy shit! Like, what a difference it really does make with sleep." Assistance I take for my joints.
Mm-hmm.
Resveratrol, I think, there's a lot of good research behind resveratrol.
Mm-hmm.
What else? Fish oil, high DHA, base fish oil, EPA as well, but I think DHA is great for brain function.
Yep.
Garlic, odorless garlic, stuff like that. I don't go too crazy with it anymore, honestly. I don't probiotic. Sometimes I forget to take my supplements before bed or in the morning, and it's just it's the way it is.
Yeah, it's another day.
Yeah.
What about nootropics? Have you ever messed around with those? I mean, I know there's a lot of nootropics, interweaved within all the different formulas and not, but do you personally mess around with any of the bulk stuff or kind of do any of the biohacking with that?
Honestly, I used to. Yeah, I used to be big with the paracetams back in the day before they even got popular, like maybe 10, 15 years, not 15, a little over 10 years ago. I was doing the paracetam, the oxyracetam, phenylparacetam. I love.
Yeah.
I just think though that there's something to, I don't know, whether it's racetams, racetams, whatever you want to call it, certain nootropics, certain stims. I think that if you overdo it, you burn yourself out. It's almost, I always notice, like if I take DMAA or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
I'm borrowing time from later and using it now because I'll be great for 5-6 hours, but the 5-6 hours after that or the next day, I'm dragging a little bit. And I always felt that with certain nootropics too.
Mm-hmm.
but alpha GPC. I like that. I love alpha GPC. Choline and choline bitartrate in a solid dose. CDP choline. I don't think all of those three should be combined. I think it's really one or the other with those three.
Right.
Huperzine A, I always like. We're working on a nootropic now. I have some very good ingredients that have not really been seen in, I was going to say sports supplements, but many supplements at all. So new stuff. But again, with those, me personally, I go too high on the dose. If I do 600 mg of alpha GPC, even at the 50% alpha GPC, I can't concentrate. I'm scatterbrained.
Yeah, I've had that.
And I think that's the thing too with certain nootropics. Everyone's different. Everyone's makeup is different, and you're gonna. There's no perfect product with a perfect dose. You got to kind of, especially with nootropics, you got to find out what works for you. Like I said, too much choline, too much of a choline source, too much caffeine, and I can't concentrate. I'm off the wall. I can't. I'm so scatterbrained where it's like, all right, I can't get any work done.
Yeah. Do you do a lot of coffee during the day or energy drinks or anything like that as far from like a caffeine standpoint, not necessarily other stimulants?
Yes, I do like a cup of coffee in the morning, espresso sometimes in the morning. And honestly, if I'm dragging later in the day, I'll grab a Bang.
Okay.
Nothing crazy though. If I go too crazy, like I said, I'm freaking off the wall, and I can't get slurring my words. It's nuts. And I'm drinking a Starbucks right now, actually, but if I go too much, if I go overboard, it screws me up.
I gotcha. And that's what
I think.
Go ahead.
This country, I mean, we're really, really becoming a stimulant addicted country. I feel like, isn't it crazy?
Yep.
It's out of control. Is the FDA going to ban a triple shot of espresso from Starbucks?
Exactly. That's what Sandy and I were talking about. It's that, I said on one hand, you've got some companies that are putting out, 500 and 600 milligram caffeinated pre-workouts. And you've got one hand segment of the consumer population that loves that and is craving that. You've got another segment that is saying these people are the reason that the FDA is coming down on the supplement industry, and this level of caffeine is dangerous, which it's not. I mean, the research, I think, even goes up to like 1.5 grams to 2 grams a day in individuals, showing that caffeine consumption is safe in a total thing. So, I'm just wondering, but they're not regulating Starbucks, like you just said. There's no limit on the triple venti mocha frappuccino, chocolata, caramel, what you call it, everything. There's no limit on that, how much caffeine they can sprinkle into those things. But people will cry out for dietary supplements, and it seems a little hypocritical to me, or an interesting paradox at that.
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up. The government has a hard on for stims, and they have a hard on for pro hormones. Whenever they hear those two, any type of new stimulant, I think they're onto the industry in that when one goes, another one comes, and it's been a constant cat and mouse game since before ephedrine.
Right.
But you're right. At what point do they say? How can they say, well, for any product containing 500 milligrams of caffeine or a certain amount of synthetic caffeine is going to be banned, or it should be advised to be wary or something like this. And then, Starbucks, anyone can go there and have as much espresso as they want.
Right.
Or it's kind of crazy. So I don't know, it's a little hypocritical, or just at the end of the day, how far can they go?
Yeah, or coffee's got a bigger spending or lobbying budget than the supplement industry does, which they probably do. Big Coffee, we've just invented another lobbying, Big Coffee, against big food and big agro.
No, it's true. It's true. You look at CBD also. At what point is Starbucks going to start selling CBD, and you're going to have people go in there for their espresso shot in the morning, and then their CBD shot fucking midday because they're too stemmed up, or there's people can start having their espresso with their CBD, and then their fucking head's going to explode. Like, what is that?
Well, you got the upper and you got the downer, so you just get this cool little middle flow state.
Theoretically, that's how it should work, right?
Yeah.
Theoretically, yeah. But that's another thing. CBD, you start seeing these doses people are putting in their products, and it's like, all right, this is new. We don't know 100% how this is going to affect us. I saw a protein powder the other day with CBD. I see BCAAs with CBD. I saw a pre-workout the other day with CBD. I said, and it was high stem with CBD. like, at what point are people going to say, wait a minute, is there a point where it stops working, or there's a reverse effect, a negative effect
Yeah.
at a certain dose? So, but that's, I go on a tangent about that too. That's just the craziness of this industry. Protein with CBD, and an intra workout with CBD. Why do I want CBD in my intra workout? I don't get it.
That brings me to my next question. Is innovation in the industry dead? Do you think we're kind of at like a dead point
Yeah,
as
right.
far as innovation goes? Because you either have the people that are doing carbon copies of everything, where it's 300 milligrams of caffeine, 6 to 8 grams of citrulline malate, 3.2 beta alanine, and then 6 grams of BCAAs. And then they might throw one extra little ingredient in there to make it different. But I mean, is innovation with most brands dead, you think?
It's dying. It's getting there, I think, and that's why people are putting CBD in pre-workouts, because that's all there's left to do. That's different, quote unquote, different.
Yeah.
And I think the innovation is now in. I'm not saying this for everybody, especially not my brand, not InnovaPharm, but you're seeing the innovation in the marketing. And I don't know if I want to call it innovation. It's just I think a lot of money now is being directed away from product development, researching new ingredients, stuff like that, and more towards marketing consultants.
Yeah.
And I get that. Like I said, this is a business. I'm a business guy, and I know you got to reach your audience. But I mean, I just see the dumbest shit sometimes. And what the fuck does this have to do with supplements? What does this have to do with supplements? I saw a video the other day of. I don't want to name names. I'm not going to name names, but I'm also not going to be 100% politically correct. Like it was a group of people walking on a mountain in California or the desert of Nevada, and they had a pre-workout in their hand, and they're sitting by a fire. And I'm like, so
what is the mountain?
And I'm seeing this shit, and I'm like, stuff like this is making me yearn for the days of when I would open Muscle Fitness. I see Jay Cutler saying, "Yeah, you put on 20 pounds of mass with Cell-Tech and Nitrotech." Like I'd rather look at that. I'd rather hear that. I don't know, but yeah, I think marketing is big. We hired two marketing consultants, and each of them lasted a day each. One of them wanted me to be the CEO of InnovaPharm and create this whole image of myself and stuff. And I said, you know what? Not me. Like I said, I just am not. I can't bullshit like that. I can't lie to people.
Yeah.
And you want to put me? You sent me this diet, and he said someone else is going to email you with something else that we're going to get you going with. I said, okay. Some guy emails me with a drug protocol, a steroid protocol.
Shit.
And I said, what the fuck is this? He says, well, we're going to get you in tip-top shape, and we're going to start, taking pictures of you with the product, the whole thing. I said, listen, I've never used gear in my life. I've never done HRT, nothing like that.
Yeah.
Thanks God, I'm 34. My test levels are good, the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
At this point in my life, I'm not going to do that.
Right.
And I just say, you know what, get the hell out of here. I don't need to deal with that. But my branding and InnovaPharm's branding, it's in our products. It's the complexity of the formulas. It's the uniqueness of the formulas. And that's it. Maybe I should do a little more. We probably should, but it's not going to be some bullshit that has nothing to do with the product, has nothing to do with supplements. At the end of the day, people want to buy supplements to see results.
Right.
I don't know what this industry. I saw Mike O'Hearn has his own brand now. I mean, everyone's got their own brand. Everyone is trying to make a buck. Yeah. I get it. I do. But at the same time, when you talk about innovation in the industry, the more Mike O'Hearn's, and no disrespect to him, I don't know the guy, but the more big fitness people and big bodybuilders who come up with their own brands, that's the cookie cutter formula that they manufacture, put together for them, is killing innovation.
Yeah.
It's just more shit on the market do we need it? Mm-hmm. But, at the end of the day, I'm a capitalist, and it's a free country. Come out with whatever you want, and if it sells, it sells.
Yeah, I would agree. And you brought up a very good point that I don't think most of the consumers realize is that a lot of the celebrity brands and the influencer brands, whatever the hell you want to call it, they don't know probably two things about the supplement industry. They're going to the contract manufacturer and getting a stock formula off the shelf, or they're paying an exorbitant amount of money to have their own spin on the formula that the manufacturer won't sell to anybody else. But they know next to nothing about how the ingredients work, what they'll do. They've got the sales sheet that's given them, the talking points of it, but they're not doing any research on there. They're not doing any product testing. and that's why you see so many copycats and just boring ass formulas.
Yeah, see more and more of it, and it's like
Hmm.
on my end, it's my competition, and I see it, and I'm like, oh god, like it gets it, as a consumer, I look at things as a consumer and as a business owner, but as a consumer, I look at it and I say, this is boring.
Hmm.
Like, come on, something new. Even if it flops, give me something new. I'll try, I'll buy it, I'll try it. If it works, it works. Doesn't, at least I tried. But I'm
Hmm.
not going to keep buying the same shit because it's got this guy's face on it or this guy's name on it, and they got a million followers on Instagram. I don't give a shit about that.
Yeah.
But people do, and that's fine. It reminds me of that brand Shreds back in the day. I mean,
Yeah.
they were all the rage 4 years ago, and
Yep.
what happened to them? I don't know.
Yeah. um, with since we're on the topic of innovation, that people aren't lining up to fund supplement studies on human test subjects and have them run, a 8-week course of XYZ plant extract or standardized plant extract. So a lot of the times we rely on cell culture studies or animal research to point us in the direction of new ingredients to try. So, at what point do you feel comfortable maybe taking a leap and trying one of these ingredients that doesn't have, the data, the body of human data backing it, like creatine or beta alanine does, but it's got some intriguing things in uh, animals, and said, hey, maybe this could work in humans. At what point do you feel comfortable testing that out, and what steps do you take before you actually incorporate it into one of your formulas to vet it personally?
Good question. I have a team, a consulting team that I work with of clinical nutritionists, two clinical nutritionists, biochemists, and um, a registered dietitian actually. And I run anything new like that. Even most of my formulas now, we'll run it past them just to take a look at everything,
Mm-hmm.
look at all the research. Our pump dirt caps have an ingredient called chiconin. This ingredient I found, I was doing research. This is years ago. I have so many ingredients that I found over the years, and I said if I ever have my own supplement brand, I'm gonna look into this and try and do this, whatever. That ingredient, there's an animal study,
Mm-hmm.
and it showed that the chiconin increased GLUT4 translocation in muscles, the GDA, a glucose disposal agent or glucose utilization agent. And but it did it using a different mechanism. A lot of these other ones, like Banaba, chlorosolic acid, will translate GLUT4 and mimic insulin. They will do the job of insulin, so your body doesn't have to secrete the insulin, and it will primarily shuttle carbohydrates to muscle tissue, away from fat, sometimes both. But the chiconin ingredient was different in that it increased calcium concentration in skeletal muscle.
Mm-hmm.
That is a result also of muscle contraction.
Right.
So when you're repping in the gym or whatever you do in the gym, muscle contraction releases calcium in skeletal muscle. And go back to something like the anabolic window. Everyone's that's bullshit, this and that. 30 minutes, hour, whatever it is. But the closer you are to your workout, your muscle glycogen stores will fill up from those carbohydrates that you consume.
Mm-hmm.
The further you away from the workout, the less that of a chance it's going to happen.
Yeah.
So a lot of that reason is because of muscle contraction. So the chiconin on paper showed that it basically mimicked muscle contraction by increasing the calcium concentration in skeletal muscle.
Mm-hmm.
So that was phenomenal, and also decreased blood sugar levels and translocated GLUT4. So good research, theoretically it should work. Doesn't always mean it's going to.
Mm-hmm.
Source the ingredient. Use a number of different sources for the ingredient, and I used it. I had my beta testers use it, pricked our fingers, did the blood sugar testing, the whole thing, and we saw that it was effective in reducing blood sugar. So if it's reducing blood sugar, is it also doing what it says it does in this animal study by increasing GLUT4 concentration, by increasing increasing calcium concentration in skeletal muscle?
Mm-hmm.
So we used it on its own for a number of weeks, and I mean the stuff worked. Our muscle glycogen seemed to have increased. And look, this is all anecdotal feedback, but a lot of times that's where it starts.
Right.
And unless you got the hundreds of thousands of dollars to fund studies and do deeper research into this ingredient, That's the only way you're going to do it. So obviously we don't have those resources, especially at the time. So it works for us, and we put it into our pump dirt, and it's a phenomenal product. It's got the chlorosylic acid at a high dose, and it has the chiconin and gymnema, but the chiconin. And people that take the pump dirt, one pill a day, and massive carbohydrates, and you fill up from it.
Yeah. With the hyperinsulinemia, hyperglycemia, obesity, type 2 diabetes, metabolic syndrome epidemic that we have going on in society, I'm surprised that GDAs don't get more attention just overall beyond outside of the sports performance and bodybuilding industry. I'm surprised those aren't hyped more, advertised more, just as general health and wellness supplements. Obviously, people need to get their diet in line and start being more physically active, but I'm surprised just as a whole the industry isn't pushing these ingredients more.
I agree. Because don't a lot of metabolic disorders, diseases, heart disease, don't a lot of these stem from blood sugar issues over time?
Exactly.
Using your body with carbohydrates and sugar, insulin malfunction, dysfunction. Don't a lot of those diseases stem from that? So you would think that they would.
Yeah,
interesting.
It is. That's something I hadn't really thought of, but just since we got on the topic of GDAs, that just pumped into my mind. And I haven't used pump dirt in a while, but I always have at least one or two GDAs in my cabinet here that I experiment with, and I run blood glucose tests on my fingers because I have a monitor here, and some of them have worked very well. Some of them have not been. I'm not going to name names of anyone because I don't want to piss anybody off, but for me personally, some of them have worked very well. Some of them haven't. Pump dirt has been one of the ones that has worked very well, so that's a good thing. So yet again, it's a prop blend, but I know that like the powder was, I believe. I've used the caps, which are open label. But
they should both. I think they're both fully disclosed.
Are they now? They might. You're right.
Yes.
I think you are right. Yeah.
Yes. They changed the ingredient profile on the powder did not contain the chiconin.
I tried the OG version of the powder. I didn't try the revamped one with the chiconin in it.
Yep. Yeah, but you're right. I mean, I'm surprised that this industry, for the natural product side and the overall health and wellness side, doesn't promote ingredients that help with blood sugar.
Yeah. How do you go about identifying some of these new ingredients? It's because you've included a lot of ingredients in your products. There's always at least one or two. We've highlighted the super spinach earlier, the Pega Pump, the chiconin we just talked about. I'm pretty sure Enduraline's got one or two that I haven't seen in other thermos before. Do you just spend like 10 or 20 hours a week just poring over nutrient journals and researching Ayurvedic healing remedies and stuff like that, or how do you go about identifying these compounds without giving away too much of the secret sauce? I mean, I want you to be able to protect your work and stuff, and I'd like to gain a little bit of insight into what's your methodology for sourcing new compounds.
It's honestly, it starts with the passion for it. I really, and more so, not years past, but now I'm so involved in the business aspect of everything where I don't have the time to do as much research as I want. And look, I'm not a scientist. I'm not a researcher.
Yeah.
Like I said, I have a degree in business management, economics. I'm a business guy. I'm a numbers guy. But I've also always had a passion for this and science. So that doesn't mean that someone like me needs a biochemistry degree to formulate a product or find an ingredient that works and source it. I mean, to find an ingredient that works, you got to find the research, but you also have to source it, and you got to be pretty damn resourceful to find some of these ingredients to be able to to get access to them.
Right.
So I'm very resourceful in that aspect. But years ago, I used to compile lists of ingredients that I would find, or through my research. Or I would look for specific outcomes or results in studies and find what ingredients are leading to that result. But now I don't have the time like I used to, which is not good. But I am starting to actually dive back into it because with the competitiveness of this industry, you better come out, like we were talking about before, I need to come out with a product that has a different twist or something unique.
Right.
So I've begun researching a little bit more. PubMed, I mean, it's a basic. PubMed.gov is a basic research, spot to research. There are some other websites too that will almost like a news website where they're coming out with, okay, this this study came out showing this, this study came out showing that. So I keep in tune with those as well. But it's really just diving into it and looking for it.
Gotcha. What's on tap for the rest of 2019 and early 2020 for the brand?
Got some good stuff.
We'll see a couple new releases, maybe.
Yeah, definitely. I want to perfect everything. I've had some things in the works for a while now, but I'm not going to release them until they're as perfect as I feel they could be.
Yeah.
Honestly, summertime is not the best time, in my opinion, to release a new product. Everyone's on vacation, barbecuing,
Right.
drinking and hanging out. I think early fall and towards the end of the year, you're going to see a lot of good stuff from InnovaPharm.
Okay.
A lot of new stuff.
New flavors possibly as well? Any new flavors in the works?
To be honest, new flavors we may actually release in the summer and then throughout the rest of the year. But in terms of new products, new ideas, new ingredients, you'll see that probably towards the end of the year. But yes, new flavors, end of the year, and then from now through the end of the year. So retracting what I said, summer we will have some new flavors. Got a new Nova Pump flavor coming out, new EAA flavor. Two new Yandoli flavors. We actually pushed. We were going to release two new Yandoli flavors about a month and a half ago. We pushed it back. We did two exclusive runs for two of our bigger retailers, and they all happened to finish at the same time. Those two new flavors for the two retailers, and then the other two new flavors that we're going to release as a whole. They were released around the same, we received them around the same time. So we actually wanted to just give our retailers some time to have their exclusive flavor on their own without having us come out with two other ones that they're going to have to carry as well and sell as well. So we want to let them do their thing with those two, their exclusive flavors first.
Gotcha.
But yeah, two new Yandoli flavors probably in the next few weeks.
Perfect.
Good flavors that you haven't seen before. You've never seen any other supplement brand do these two flavors.
Awesome. That's cool because y'all did the first orange mango grapefruit, the OMG flavor of Recover EAA, and I've yet to see anybody else really tackle a grapefruit flavored supplement. So I know you've always got your thinking cap on when it comes to flavoring, so I'm excited to see what you got for Enduraline.
Cool.
And lastly, we touched on this a little bit before we started the call, the official recording. But you've been overseeing both InnovaPharm and Precision Research, and we focused the majority of this conversation on InnovaPharm. Where do you see the direction of Precision Research going ultimately? Because we've seen some free ingredients come out of there. They have an MV Pre, which is a full open label pre-workout. They've also got Celastris paniculatus, which is a cool nootropic ingredient that I think people should check out. That's one that a lot of people don't actually know about or much is discussed in formulas at all.
Great stuff. Yeah.
So what, is that going to get folded more into InnovaPharm? Is that on the back burner now? Is that, what is that just kind of like a testing ground for stuff that's ultimately going to be released under InnovaPharm? What was the mindset with that brand?
The mindset off the bat was to honestly increase our shelf space in our retailers. Instead of having 20 InnovaPharm products, what happens is a lot of times customers say, "Oh, I tried InnovaPharm, everything." Look, stores don't want to push all one brand. They don't want to look like they're pushing all one brand. So my mindset is, look, we have multiple brands, and other companies have done this as well successfully. If we have multiple brands, stores can get behind us as a whole and not make it like they're just saying, "Go take the InnovaPharm fat burner, the pre-workout, et cetera, et cetera." So by having Precision Research, it gave us the ability to have more shelf space and to allow the retailer to say, "Hey, take the Precision Research this and the InnovaPharm that," and that's it. End of the day, though, a lot of these products will be transferring over to InnovaPharm. For example, our MV Pre, clinically dosed high-stem, high-dose pre-workout, open label. We just did, it's doing very well in Europe for us. We just did MV Pre 2.0 specifically for our European distributor. They're actually launching it this week. They were going to wait for Body Power, but their demand for it was so crazy. They just launched it this week. But we put that under InnovaPharm just because the InnovaPharm brand was growing there with Nova Pump, EAA, Pump Dirt. So they actually requested, please put this under InnovaPharm so that way we can continue to grow the brand. And I think that's the route we're going to be going in the U.S. too.
Okay, excellent. Do you find it difficult to formulate for the European market versus the American market? Do you find there's much differences in terms of what each population or demographic wants in their pre-workouts and supplements?
Yeah, noticing that definitely. As you know, we were talking about before, they're not crazy about prop blends. They want that full disclosure label. Um, but and then ingredients to rarolsine, alpha yohimbine,
Mm-hmm.
can't be sold in the UK. That's one of the
Right.
reasons we did the MVP 2.0 for them.
Mm-hmm.
Agmatine now, I think I don't know if it's going to be banned or it is banned or they're talking about it. So agmatine as well. We actually took the agmatine out of our MVP 2.0 and replaced it with S7. Speaking of S7, I saw the majority of your
Speaking of that seven.
but there you go. I mean, look, that's an ingredient that has one study that shows, shows 200% increase, a 200% increase in nitric oxide.
Yeah.
That's great. Um, but does that always is that applicable to the real world?
Mm-hmm.
Am I going to get a sick pump from it? I put it in because look, it's all the rage right now, and at the end of the day, it's got the study. Is it the best pump ingredient? I don't think so.
Mm-hmm.
But if they can't have if they can't use agmatine, I'm not a big fan of Vasco 6 to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, I don't know. We did put the S7 in there instead of the agmatine. But again, so yeah, these countries, Australia, same thing. Stimulants especially, no DMHA over there in
Right.
Australia. Um, so yeah, you gotta tweak your formulas for these guys. Whether you're gonna tweak your entire your range, your product range as a whole, and offer the same products to the UK and the US, or you're gonna have a US version, a UK version, an AU version.
Mm-hmm.
That's up to the brand.
Yeah. Excellent. All right,
Okay.
Chris. I think I've abused you long enough on the podcast. So hopefully, I didn't put you through the ringer too
I don't
much
know.
with these questions. So
No, that wasn't too bad, man. I appreciate it. And you know what? This is the first I think interview I've actually done with anybody like personally. So yeah,
awesome.
glad it was, yeah,
This
it
was
was
this was
cool.
fantastic, man. It's Sane and I were talking. I said I'm collecting another notches on my belt. I'm getting popping the cherries on people for their first podcast. So this is I get to put another mark on the wall.
Oh, you're doing a good job, man. I've been watching all your other supplement engineer podcasts and on YouTube and everything, and you're doing a good job, man. Keep it up.
I really appreciate it, Chris. This was been a long time in the making. It was as enjoyable as I hoped it would be, and thank you so much for your time, man. This was awesome.
Cool, definitely, man. I'd love to be back. Let me know.
You got it.
All right, buddy.